Let the games begin.
Welcome, friends of the Grummels, to Shinies and Luckydos. My name is Shirviu, and in today's video, I'll be sharing some classic WoW spreadsheet templates that'll hopefully help out some of the new guilds forming out there. Now, on Shinies and Luckydos, we usually cover World of Warcraft lore and speculation, from Warcraft 1 to Vanilla, and all the way up to Battle for Azeroth. We're certainly huge lore nerds, but we're also huge classic WoW nerds too, and so today's video is going to be a bit different from our usual. But don't worry, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming as we have tons of lore videos coming up for you guys soon. So let's get started right away with the spreadsheets here, and I'll walk you all through the different tabs. Keep in mind, this is all set up to work for our guild. Feel free to click the link below in the description box and make a copy of the spreadsheet for yourself where you'll be able to edit it to your liking. Okay, so first off, we have a roster page here. Basically, this sheet was originally developed by a player named Turin, who made it available for public use. I have the links to his original sheets, and basically it was actually developed for Burning Crusade, so I basically just tweaked it a bit and expanded upon it to make it more classic WoW friendly. The sheet he made is really well done, and I hope that the sheets that my guild has worked on could be just as helpful as his. But it's pretty straightforward. You put in the Discord name, the character names of your guildies, and then they can fill out the information here. I've done a little example. They can put in their class and role. If you scroll to the side, we have room for some alts, cooking and fishing, and then finally we have space here for their availability. And all of this at the top here is going to populate based on what you put in. So it already automatically calculates, and it'll show you the best time slots as well. At the start here, we have tallies for all the different classes, roles, professions, so you can just see all that at a glance. The next sheet I have here is for keys and attunements. It's pretty straightforward. Guildies put down their tune name, and then they can fill out here with these drop downs which keys they have. Maybe they're working on a certain attunement, and it's just really straightforward and it's clear for everyone to see. I've also put in red here which ones aren't going to be available in phase 1. Next, I've got here a profession sheet. So there's a little blurb here about how to use it. It actually took quite a while to make, and it was a combined effort of multiple guildies, but basically we've listed each recipe that we think is relevant to the end game that can't be trained from a profession trainer and therefore must be found out in the world. I mean, it's pretty much a given that anything you get from your trainer you're already going to have. So we've just tried to list here the recipes that another guildie might want to know, who in the guild has access to this recipe, who's learned it, or maybe they find one and they want to give it to a guildie that doesn't have it. So here you're just able to mark down your tune name, and then you can say Savory Deviant Delight. Yes, I already have it. Smoked Desert Dumplings, it's not out in phase 1. No, I don't have it. That sort of thing. Anything not in phase 1 we highlighted in red here. And we have some hover text that just shows, little information. We have the reagents required, the phase we expect the recipe to come in at, and then we have how to get the recipe. And we've just done this for all the different professions. You can just take a quick look there. So that's the profession sheet. Next, we have another pretty big undertaking we worked on. This is a loot priority spreadsheet. We intended for the loot council to have this sheet open for the whole raid, so we opted to go for a dark mode so it doesn't burn your eyes. But you can easily just make all of this white too. If you wanted to, you can just highlight it all and pick white. But basically we have priorities 1 to 5, and you would list off in what order your guild, if you're doing a loot council, for example, what classes have what, the highest priority for what item. We also have here a little column for intro, which we've just put in some information on what phase we expect items to come in at. And then we have a notes section just if you wanted to write anything about why the prio is a certain way or whatnot, and then a column for bis, so you can just indicate if something is best in slot or not. I've also put these nice banners along the side here. It just means that if you hold control and you decide you want to zoom out, you can also go over here and go 50%. It just makes it much easier to scroll through. You can find, you know, the different raids at a glance really easily. And these banners were actually developed by T-Bling from the Barons Chat website, so thank you to T-Bling. Those are publicly available, so you know we can use them in things like this. And they're so really well done. So I'm just going to put this back to 100%. Next, this is really basic, you know, it's straightforward. It's got 10 spots here. You can just put down any ranks that you have in your guild, the members of the ranks, like you might want to list out the officers, and then what the rank is. So those spreadsheets down there that I just showed you, I have them all colored in blue because they're intended to be spreadsheets that the whole guild is able to look at. Then these three in red are intended to be officer sheets. So this one here called permissions, we have ranks 1 through 10 again, and basically for the different guild permissions and then Discord permissions that at least that my guild uses, we've just been able to indicate here based on what rank who can do what, so it's just really clear and streamlined. This sheet here is meant for class leaders, so we intend for our class leaders to have one of these done up for each of their raiders. At the top we have a little wish list area where raiders can advise us of what their top 3 desired items are, and then we can put down the date that they got that item if it was, you know, given to them in the Loot Council. We also have a spot here for different gear sets and enchants that go along with them, and a little spot for notes. This class sheet here is for Loot Council purposes, so we would list off the characters. At a glance you'd see their attendance, their specs, their race if that's relevant, like for humans, the PvP rank, all the equipment that they have here pulled off of their class sheet, right? And then here is the different priorities that they had listed. So, you know, if you're not in Nax yet, you can just easily click, you know, Nax all the way through to Blackwing Lair, and then you can click on hide and they won't be in the way. And then just a little spot for notes. But this is so that the Loot Council can see all the information they're going to need at a glance. And then I just have a color code here. I mean, that's just what we use. We have red and purple for our different raid teams, and then blue is for trials, but you can do whatever you want with that. So we would actually list, you know, we'd have all the hunters on one sheet, for example. We'd make another one for all the mages. So when we look at our loot priority and we see something is for mages, it's, you know, #1 prio for mages, we want to give it to a mage, then we can compare all the mages together and see who deserves that item. So that's it for the internal officer sheets. Then finally we have some leveling sheets here. It's just a planner that we're using to try and find leveling groups for people. So there's just some information about it here. This is where people would sign up, so they can put their name, class, race, and their availability for the first 2 weeks of launch. And then this page here is actually where they can fill in their different leveling groups. Just some information about, you know, if they have a name for the group, the leader, who all the members are, and they can just put in their availability here as well. So everybody has, at a quick glance, access to who's grouping up to. Finally, this data sheet here, you don't want to mess with this. It's pretty messy, but you would just want to lock that up and hide it so nobody can mess with it if you're not sure how it works. But that's where a lot of the information for these sheets, especially the roster sheet here, is pulling information from. So for all of these drop downs, for example, they're pretty sophisticated. So, you know, based on what class you put in, it's gonna decide what the race, you know, options are. If I put, let's say, druid, it's only going to give me night elf. So all of that information is being pulled from the data sheet. As you can see, it just populated this here because I just put that in Night Elf. So just make sure that nobody's like messing with that sheet. That sheet has to be there for all of this to work. But yeah, that's all of our sheets. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. It's just a little starter pack here for new guilds. I intend to keep the Google Doc up to date as we customize these sheets throughout Classic, and if I come up with any more sheets, I'll make sure to throw them in there for everyone to use. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and if you're interested in keeping up with Shinies and Luckydos, feel free to subscribe or even join our Discord channel, which will be linked down in the description box below. If you have any questions, again, we have my name here on Discord. You can always DM me or just feel free to leave us a comment. Alright, hopefully that was clear for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Farewell, friends of the Grumbles, and may your feet find good trails.